Good evening, everybody. In the last session, we were discussing about resin bordered FPD, and we have seen about the classification, details of each classification, their advantages, disadvantages, indications, and contraindications. And in this second part, we will be going with tooth preparation, both the anterior tooth preparation and the posterior tooth preparation. For the tooth preparation, we have some common principles. There should be a distinct path of insertion. Proximal undercuts must be removed on the lingual and the proximal surface of the teeth. Occlusal receipts, proximal grooves or slots must provide the resistance form, and a definite and distinct gingival margin should be established wherever it is possible. Now we will go with the step-by-step procedure for the anterior teeth preparation. In the first step, we will go with the lingual reduction. Here, as the first part of the first step, we will make centric occlusal markings using articulating paper. Now, we have the markings on the lingual surface of the teeth, and now we will use a round wheel diamond for reducing 0.5 mm of tooth structure as the clearance. The lingual reduction should end 1.5 to 2 mm to the incisal edge, or just incisal to the incisal most occlusal contact. Here we have the occlusal markings made with the articulating paper. We do the occlusal clearance using the wheel diamond bar, and the lingual reduction is made, which is 1.5 to 2 mm from the incisal tip, or just incisal to these marks that we have made. Okay. Now we will make some countersinks. What are the use of these countersinks? These are used to provide resistance to the gingival displacement. So which burr we will be used? We will be using a flattened tapering diamond. Using this flattened tapering diamond, we make flat notches or countersinks on the lingual surface of the tooth. You can see here, these are the countersinks that we are prepared. Okay. So in the third step, we will go for the proximal reduction. It is done in the facial and lingual segment adjacent to the edentulous space. A flattened taper diamond is used to produce a small plane that extends slightly facial to the facio-proximal line angle. Okay. This helps to produce a facial wrap around to enhance the resistance. So it is used as a resistance feature. Now we will make a second plane. It is produced lingual to the first plane with the same burr. We can see here, this is the first plane which we are making on the proximal aspect to the facial surface just beyond the facio-proximal line angle. And after making this, we go for the second plane towards the lingual surface. It extends from the facio-proximal line angle to the lingual aspect. Now we have to do the lingual axial reduction. So where will we make it? Before that, which burr we will be using for that? It is done using a rounded tapering diamond. You can see that this diamond burr, it is a rounded tapering. It is done from the biplanar proximal axial reduction around the cingulum. Okay, here is the cingulum and we are making it biplanarly around the cingulum. So from word to word, this is the edentulous space. Here we make it completely, and on the opposite side of the edentulous space, that is here, we make it at a point just short of proximal contact. Here we have the proximal contact, so just short of that proximal contact, we make it on the opposite side of the edentulous space. Now we have to prepare the finish line. So two things we have to see: where we have to make the finish line and what type of finish line we have to make. We are going to make a light chamfer finish line that is approximately 1 millimeter supragingival throughout the length. Okay. Now we have to give some grooves and slots. So what are the grooves and slots we are giving? They are the cingulum groove and the proximal groove or slots. Okay. So now we will prepare the cingulum groove. A short groove is placed at the facial most extension of the reduction on the opposite side of the cingulum with a short needle diameter. We are using a short needle diameter. Okay. Why we are using that? We are using that to enhance the resistance and rigidity of the retainer. Now we move to the last step by the preparation of proximal groove. Place a groove in the vicinity of the wraparound or break between the facial and lingual planes. We can see that here is the break between the facial and lingual planes. There we go for the preparation of proximal groove. Now let's see the posterior tooth preparation. The basic framework for the posterior resin retained FPD consists of mainly three components. One is the occlusal rest preparation. It is for the resistance to gingival displacement. Retentive surface for resistance to occlusal displacement. Proximal wrap of more than 180 degree, and additionally proximal slots for resistance to torquing forces. Let's see the occlusal rest preparation. This is already been taken to you in the RPD section. A spoon-shaped occlusal rest seat is placed in the proximal marginal ridge area of the abutments adjacent to the edentulous space. If required, we can go for an additional rest seat on the opposite side of the tooth. Here we can see the rest seat. It is prepared here. The rest is an important feature for resistance and retention to both occlusal and lateral forces, and it should be designed to function as a shallow pin. To resist the occlusal displacement, restoration is designed to maximize the bonding area without unnecessarily compromising the periodontal health or the aesthetics. Okay. Here we can see rest is given on both the sides of the tooth. Okay. Now we will go for proximal and lingual axial reduction. They are reduced to lower the height of contour to approximately 1 millimeter from the free gingival crest. It is prepared so that we should have a good parallelism. Why? Because we require only a single path of incision. The alloy framework is designed, as we tell earlier, to engage at least 180 degree to the tooth structure when viewed from the occlusal aspect. This enables the restoration to resist the lateral loading by engaging the underlying tooth structure, and it is assisted by grooves in the proximal just lingual to the buccal line angle. That is, although we are giving the proximal wrap, the main idea is to resist the lateral loading, but it is to be assisted along with the grooves, proximal grooves that we have, as we have done in the anterior tooth preparation, and here we are giving the proximal grooves just lingual to the buccal line angle. Now, distal to the edentulous space, the retainer resistance is augmented by groove at the lingual proximal line angle. Where here we can see this is the rest we are given. Here we give the good 180-degree wrap, and at the end of it, that is on the lingual proximal line angle, we can see a proximal lingual groove. Although these are the main preparation strategies, always it differs with the tooth. We will see some of the differences that we have to make when we are preparing on different posterior tooth. When we are preparing on a molar teeth, whether it is a maxillary or the mandibular teeth, the changes are there only on the lingual surface. That is, in the mandibular tooth, the lingual wall is prepared in a single plane, whereas in a maxillary tooth, it is done in two planes. Why? Because the occlusal function and taper of the functional cusp, that is the functional cusp of the occlusal maxillary molar, we have a two plane at the occlusal two-third. Okay, but there are certain cases where the mandibular molar will be slightly lingually inclined. In such cases, we have to go for a two-plane or the double plane preparation, unlike that of single plane preparation we have discussed earlier. Now let's see the occlusal preparation. We can give a wide range of extensions on the occlusal surface of the posterior teeth. They can be shoeing of the cusp, encircling of the cusp, extension of metal through the central fossa from the mesial to distal direction with the lingual cusp exposed. For the mandibular first premolar, we have some changes. Why? Main thing is that for the mandibular first molar, the lingual cusp is very small, and if we try to keep a rest seat or a rest on that, it will totally disrupt the tooth structure. So what we can do? We will cover the entire lingual cusp, provided it will not interfere with the occlusion. This also helps in increasing the surface area and reinforcing the retainers. Here we can see we are completely capping the lingual cusp with a proximal groove here. And in the molar preparation also, we can cap the lingual cusp as that of premolars to produce rigidity. Occlusal inlays can be attached to the anatomical grooves such as lingual or distolingual grooves. Axial coverage can be extended through the proximal contact to connect with the occlusal rest or the inlays. Here we can see the occlusal preparation where through the central fossa, the mesial and distal side is connected to the rest. There will be certain cases where the molars will be tilted. In such cases, the mesial or the mesiolingual cusp of the mandibular molars that have been tipped and that are out of occlusion can be covered to improve the occlusion and remove the subocclusal foot traps. So these are the techniques for the tooth preparation both in the anterior and on the posterior aspect. We will stop this session here, and in the third part we will see about the fabrication of resin bonded FPD and cementation of resin bonded FPD and the post incision care. Thank you.